Hello everyone, welcome to the first module of our course, Things to Avoid When Building a Personal Brand as a Social Media Manager. Now in this first module, we're going to be looking through why is personal branding important as a social media manager, and just a few recap of the table of content. What is personal branding? That's what we're going to be looking at in this module. Why is personal branding important for social media managers? Signs that indicate you are ready to build a personal brand. What to keep in mind before launching a personal brand, and a pre-launch checklist for your personal brand. So before we dive in, I want you to pay very rapt attention to this course. I want you to get your pen and your paper and everything that will make you feel comfortable during the course of this module 1 lesson. So yeah, just a brief introduction. If you have been in the social media management space for a long time and feel like something crucial is missing, then you are in the right place. Welcome to module 1 of Things to Avoid When Building a Personal Brand as a Social Media Manager. Now, this course is actually designed to fill in those missing pieces and guide you towards creating a successful personal brand in social media management. So now, first things first. What is personal branding? The mistake that a lot of people make is that they go ahead to build a personal brand because they think they know a few things about personal branding, but that is not so. That's why in this part of this lesson, I'm going to be telling you what personal branding is so that you properly understand what the concept of personal branding is all about. Now, it says here, personal branding in simple terms is all about how you portray yourself to others, especially in your professional life. So, for example, we can have an event host, also called an MC, right? He can be wearing other hats like a father. He can also be a writer. He can also be somebody that draws. But he wants people to see him only professionally. He wants people to see him only as an event host, as an MC. So he might be wearing other hats, but he wants to portray himself as an MC to people, right? And a personal brand involves how you present your skills, expertise, and unique qualities to build a strong reputation and stand out from the crowd. Now, I'll take it from the first point. It involves how you present your skills. So now, for example, you can be a social media manager. Where your personal brand comes in is how you tell people that, oh, I'm a social media manager. How you present your social media management skills to them, right? And it's also unique qualities, and personal branding also involves unique qualities to build a strong reputation and stand out from the crowd. Now, there are other social media managers out there, but you want to present yourself as a unique social media manager. You want to stand out from other social media managers that are out there, right? So that is what personal branding is all about. Now, personal branding in simpler terms, I want to go ahead to break down the concept of personal branding for you so that you can better understand what personal branding is all about. Now, the first point here says, personal branding is like marketing yourself. For example, if you are a social media manager, marketing your personal brand would involve showcasing to the world what makes you different from other social media managers. I'll say it again so that you can better understand. Personal branding is like marketing yourself. So, for example, you can be marketing a particular product. It can be a cream, it can be a lip gloss. You are trying to let people know about that particular product so that they can buy from you, right? In the same light, for example, if you are a social media manager, marketing your personal brand will involve showcasing to the world what makes you different. So you are telling them, oh, I'm a social media manager. These are the things that makes me different from other social media other social media managers that you can see out there. And this is why you should patronize me. This is why you should ask for my services. This is why you should ask for my products. So that is literally what personal branding is all about. It's about marketing yourself. You are telling people, oh, this is why you should choose my social media management services instead of that other social media management service that you see out there. So you are literally marketing yourself. The second point here says, personal branding is the practice of creating a reputation for yourself. It is building your own brand just like companies do, but for yourself. And I'll give an example. Now, there are different companies out there, and I'll give an example of maybe we all know cowbell milk. Even if you don't know cowbell milk, it's a company, and there are other people that create milk. There are other people that create dairy products. But cowbell milk, they went ahead to create a company, a brand for themselves, so that they can create a reputation, so that they can be better, or not. No, let's not say better, so that they can stand out of other people that create dairy products. So that is what personal brand is all about. It's about creating a reputation for yourself, right? And then the third point here says, personal branding is all about identifying what makes you unique and showcasing it to the world. Now, there are lots of social media managers, But in a way, there are people that are actually different because they have something that is unique. So they are doing the same work. They might be doing the same work as social media managers, but there are different things that actually makes them unique from other people. So, for example, it can be your writing skill. Maybe you are a social media manager with an exceptional writing skill. That is what makes you unique, and you might want to showcase it to the world. So that is what personal branding is all about. Now we are going to look at why personal branding is important for social media managers. So why should you have a personal brand as social media manager? But before I dive into this, I'm going to be painting two scenarios. So a guy named Emeka is a social media manager and he's not on any social media platform. He's not on Instagram, he's not on Twitter, he's not on LinkedIn, but he has all the skills of a social media manager. That means he has what it takes to be a social media manager, and he's well aware of that. And just that he's just in his own space, he's doing the social media management thing. When he comes across jobs, he would apply and all of that. And I'm going to paint another scenario, the second scenario, which is Abigail is a social media manager. She's on Instagram, she's on LinkedIn. She has a personal brand on Instagram where she shares tips about social media management. She tells people why they should opt for her social media management services and products. She's basically just showcasing herself. Now, between these two scenarios, Emeka and Abigail, you can already point out why personal branding is important as a social media manager, right? But I'm going to take the first point here. Having a personal brand as a social media manager will help you stand out from the millions of social media managers out there. Now, you should understand that your role as a social media manager, you're not the only one. There are thousands of people, in fact millions of people, that are also into the same skill called social media management, or have the same skills called social media management. Now, having a personal brand will put you at the forefront in such a way that when you have a personal brand, you are sharing your skills, you are sharing things that you have done, you are sharing your products, you are sharing your services. That way, people are more likely to even patronize you, or even more likely to even know about you and know about what you do. But if you're a social media manager and you don't have a personal brand, people don't know how they can reach you on Instagram. If they have opportunities, they will most likely not see you on Instagram because you are not on Instagram, so you won't be able to grab that particular opportunity at that time. So having a personal brand is very important because it makes you to stand out from the millions of social media managers out there. And trust me, when people are looking for social media managers, the first thing that they do is that they go online and they go and look for people that they think will be a best fit for them, or best fit for their company. So if you're a social media manager and you don't have a brand for yourself, you don't have something that sets you apart from other social media managers, then you won't really be able to stand out as a social media manager. Second point here says a personal brand will help you showcase your expertise in social media management. So now, if you have a personal brand, you'll be able to showcase what it is that you can do, and what you cannot do as well. Because if you have a personal brand, people know that, oh, she really have a personal brand. People know that, oh, she's really good with writing content calendars. I love her content ideas. She's really good. Her content always goes viral. She's really good with virality. She knows a lot about social media management. That way, when you are showcasing your skills, when you are showcasing what it is that you can do, then you are literally showcasing your expertise. People can see what it is that you can do and you cannot do. And they are ready to say, oh, please come and help me manage my personal brand. Come and help me manage my company on social media platforms. So if you have a personal brand, it will help you to showcase your expertise. And imagine if you're a social media manager and you're just on your own, you don't have a personal brand, you're just there. Nobody really knows you're a social media manager. But if you have a personal brand, it will help you to showcase your expertise in social media management. The third point here says a strong personal brand opens you up to networking opportunities with other professionals in the industry, and it can lead to collaborations and partnership. Now, I'll give a scenario, right? If you're on LinkedIn per se, or if you're on LinkedIn, for example, and you're a social media manager, and people know that you are a social media manager on LinkedIn, one way or the other, social media managers will want to connect with you because they feel like you have something that is bringing the both of you together, which is the common skill, which is social media management. So they are willing to connect with you. And if you're on a platform like LinkedIn where there are so many professionals and you want to connect with them, they can also connect back with you. So personal branding opens you up to networking opportunities. And not only that, when people go on Instagram and they search for social media managers, they might want to pick you to help you to manage their brand, to manage their company. They might want you to pick you for collaborations, for partnerships. So having a strong personal brand opens you up to networking opportunities. Not only a brand, I said a strong personal brand. So with time, as you are building your personal brand, it becomes stronger and stronger. So not the one that today you start building your personal brand, and then the next time we'll see you on LinkedIn or on Instagram active, maybe in the next 4 years or in the next 4 months. That is not a strong personal brand. So if you want to build a strong personal brand, you have to go step by step. You have to go step by step. That is what it is. The fourth point here says a personal brand helps you build trust with your audience. When people see a consistent and authentic personal brand, they are more likely to trust you as a social media manager. As a social media manager with a strong personal brand, people are able to trust you. They're like, oh, she knows what she's doing. She's a really good social media manager. I can see her skill. I can see all the things that she does out there. That way, with your personal brand, you are putting yourself out there, and as you constantly keep putting yourself out there, you start to build trust with your audience. All the people that wanted to employ you before, they will now begin to actually employ you, because they see that, oh, this girl is consistent with her brand. They begin to trust you. So it is very important. A personal brand will help you to build trust with your audience, and when people see that you are consistent and you are authentic, they are more likely to trust you and even opt for your services as a social media manager. Now that you know why it is important to start a personal brand as a social media manager, we're going to be moving forward to signs that indicate you are ready to build a personal brand. Now, so many people start personal brands for different reasons. Some start because their friends are starting one. Some start because they feel like it's the next big thing to do. And you might ask the question, how do I know I'm ready to actually start a personal brand? Number one sign, you must have a vision or a goal. Now, starting a personal brand in social media management is more than just a trend. So many people, they just start their brands because they feel like, oh, everybody's creating content now, so I should create content for social media management. And that is where they get it all wrong. Because if you start because other people are starting, you might actually stop by the way, because you do not have a concrete goal or vision. Vision and goal is actually what keeps you going in anything that you are doing. So before you start a personal brand, or when you know you are ready for one, is when you have a vision and a goal. Now, it is very crucial to have a clear goal and vision for what you want to achieve for your personal brand. Ask yourself these questions to clarify your goals, or to clarify that your goals are actually clear goals. Now, there are goals and they're actually clear goals. So you must make sure that the goals that you have, they're actually clear goals. For example, what do I want to achieve with my personal brand? Now, sit down and actually ask yourself, okay, I'm trying to build a personal brand in social media management, but there are already other social media management brands. So what makes my own different? What do I want to achieve with this particular brand? Do I want to get more clients through my personal brand? Do I want to help social media managers? Do I want to help people, social media managers craft easy courses that will help them understand what social media management is all about? What exactly do I want to achieve with my personal brand? You must ask yourself. And as I am actually noting down these questions, please also be noting them down with your paper and your jotter as well. The second question, who is my target audience? Now, knowing your target audience is very, very important and very key. And during the course of this lesson, we'll actually be breaking that down. But before then, you must have a target audience that you are speaking to. Are you speaking to social media managers? Are you speaking to clients? Who is your target audience? You must understand that. Also, what sets me apart from others? Now, there are so many social media managers that have their personal brand on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, name it. And now you want to ask yourself that what actually sets you apart from these people? Because if you are just coming on Instagram or on Twitter, building a personal brand there, and you don't have what exactly makes you unique, then you are just like the others that just come on there and have no clue of what they are doing. So you must know what sets you apart from other social media managers. Also, what values do you want your brand to represent? Now you are trying to build a brand. What do you want the brand to be known for, right? What do you want to portray the brand as to the audience? That is very important. Lastly, how do I measure success? As I'm building my personal brand, how do I know that yes, I'm actually achieving my goals? You must understand that as well. The second point here, preparedness. Building a personal brand takes time and effort. I'm somebody that has started a personal brand from scratch, so I know that it actually takes time and effort. You cannot build a personal brand today and the brand will start growing today. No. I mean, the brand has a process of growing, but it must take time, it must take effort, you must put in effort, you must put in your time. Because most times when your brand is in the early stage, there's so many people are not even paying attention to you. So many people don't even care if you have opened a personal brand or not. Nobody is really giving you attention because you are just in the early stage. You are just starting. People want to see whether you will be consistent. They want to see whether you will actually put in your effort. So it is very important, before you start your personal brand, you need to plan carefully and be consistent. If you are going to start a personal brand today and you do not plan to be consistent at all, please do not start. Because if you want to start a personal brand, you have to have it at the back of your mind that you have to be consistent. Even on days when people are not cheering you on, even on days when people are not engaging with your brand, you must be consistent and show up for yourself. This means being ready for both the good and the bad things that might happen along the way. Now, as you are building your personal brand, or you are starting to build a personal brand, not everything will be rosy all the time. Most times you will be the one consuming your own content, but you have to continue consistently putting in the effort and putting in the time, because eventually your personal brand will start growing. So you must be prepared for your personal brand if you actually want to start building one. The third point here says experience. Having at least 1 year experience in social media management shows that you have a good understanding of the field. Now, I'm not discouraging you that when you just enter into the career path, you should not build a personal brand. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying having at least 1 year of experience in social media management shows that you actually have a good understanding. So you actually know what it is that you are doing. I advise you to have at least 1 year experience, 6 months to 1 year experience before you actually decide that yes, I want to start a personal brand. Because if you just start a personal brand in your early stages of just learning, grasping the social media management, it's going to be quite hard, because you are trying to combine learning and also building a personal brand. So please, I do not advise that you do that. Make sure that you have at least 6 months experience or even 1 year experience of the field. This experience gives you useful insights and skills that can help you when you start your own personal brand. So that is very, very important. The fourth point here says what makes you unique, and I've been hammering on this a lot because there are lots of social media managers out there. In fact, there are lots of social media managers with personal brands out there. So you must know what it is that makes you unique. What makes you stand out from them? Is it your own particular way of doing your content? Is it your own particular style of teaching people social media management? What makes you unique? What makes you different from all other social media managers that have a personal brand? You must identify it, and it is what makes the difference. So if you want to build a personal brand today, or if you are thinking of building a personal brand or starting a personal brand, you must actually sit down and identify what it is that makes you different from other social media managers. Is it your writing skill? Is it your graphic design skill? Is it your marketing skills? You must make sure that you know what it is that actually makes you unique. That actually makes the difference when you are building your personal brand. And then the fifth point here says, are you ready to present yourself to the world? Now, so many people they want to build a personal brand, but at the same time, they don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want people to know what it is that they are doing. They are camera shy. They don't really like putting themselves out there. But if you want to build a personal brand, you must be ready to present yourself to the world. Are you ready to show the world who you are and what you have to offer? It's about being confident and prepared to share your skills, personality, and experiences with others, especially through social media. And if you are going to be going through social media, of course, if you want to build a personal brand, social media has to be in place, right? You must understand that a lot of people are watching you. A lot of people are seeing what it is that you are doing. So are you ready for people to be watching you? Are you ready for people to be monitoring what it is that you are doing? You must be prepared for that. Now we just look through signs that indicate that you are ready to build a personal brand. Now we are going to be going to what to keep in mind before launching your personal brand. So before you go ahead to actually launch that personal brand, you should have these couple of things in mind. First things first, clearly define your brand identity. Now, what do you want your brand to be known for? Right? Go ahead to define your goals, define your SMART goals that you want to achieve with your personal brand, and what also makes your brand unique in social media management industry. You must have that in mind before you go ahead to launch your personal brand, because those are very important information. Second point, you must also understand the people you are trying to target with your brand. Do you want to target clients or people interested in pursuing social media management as a career path? You must have this in mind before launching your brand. You must know, yes, this is the particular target of people I'm actually pursuing. I'm pursuing clients. I want to get more clients to use my services or my products as a social media manager. You must have it in mind, the people you actually want to target, right? And then the third point here, be very authentic and stay true to yourself and buy the identity. Don't try to copy others. So don't try to copy people that you think that, oh, they have been there before you, right? They were actually figuring themselves out until they actually found their true identity. So when you start building your personal brand, be authentic, straight through to yourself and your brand identity, and don't try to copy others. The other point here says be consistent with your brand, because that is the only way you will grow. Also be very consistent with your niche as well, because along the line so many people might fall off and they might start talking about another thing. Maybe they were talking about social media management before, now they are talking about content creation, or they are talking about influencer marketing. Now I'm not saying that you should not figure out what actually suits you best, but when you already have your goal in mind, you already have your brand identity, you already have all those things in place, then you already know what it is that you are doing, right? That is very important. So you must be very consistent with your niche, your brand voice, and also your brand style. The last point here says always monitor your progress and make adjustments to your strategy when needed. Now, one thing that has helped me during the course of building my own personal brand, I always go back and do reviews. So I go back and say, okay, so how have I been doing for the couple of 2 months, for 3 months? How has the progress been? Am I making progress? Am I not making progress? You must always monitor your progress. That helps you to know if you are growing or you are not growing. So it's very important. Now, a pre-launch checklist for your personal brand. Note that this will go through we will just go through this list basically, right? Towards the end of the course, we will go through all of these in details. Not towards the end, but during the course of this lesson, this course, we'll actually go through all of this. But this is just a pre-launch checklist. So if you are about to launch your brand, or before you even think of launching your personal brand, you must have all of this in mind. First, define your brand identity. Secondly, identify your target audience. Third point, set smart goals for your brand. The fourth point, develop your brand voice. The fifth point, create a content strategy. Sixth point, choose your platforms. Seventh point, create a content calendar. Eighth point, establish your brand guidelines. Ninth point, prepare your launch content. And final point, engage with your audience. So these are the list of things that you should have before you, prior to when you want to launch your personal brand. Now we are not going to be talking too much on this during the course of this lesson. During the course of the modules, we are going to be speaking and elaborating more on all of this. Thank you so much for module 1, and I'll see you in module 2. Hello everyone, welcome to module 2 of our personal branding course, things to avoid when building a personal brand as a social media manager. In this second module, we are going to be looking through identifying your brand personality as a social media manager. Now, in the last module, we spoke about why personal branding is important as a social media manager. Now, in this module, we are going to be identifying your brand personality and help you start building your brand. So now in the table of contents for today, we have what is brand identity, why is a brand identity important, why you need a unique value proposition for your personal brand, how to identify your brand target audience and niche, how to identify your brand voice and tone, and tips for creating content that aligns with your brand identity. Now, a little bit of introduction. You are welcome to the second module of this course. In this module, we'll be focusing on identifying your brand personality as a social media manager. In the last module, we looked at why personal branding is important, right? But the aim of this module is to help you identify and create your brand personality. Now, the aim of this module too is that, you don't have a brand, so you are trying to figure out your brand personality, right? And also help you to create and identify your brand personality, which will help you connect better with your audience, stand out from your competitors, stand out from other social media managers out there, and create a consistent brand image on all your social media platforms. So let's get started with module 2. So now, first things first, what is brand identity? Your brand identity is simply how you present your brand to your audience and what differentiates you from other brands. Now, I'll say it again. Your brand identity is simply how you present your brand to your audience and what differentiates you from other brands. So for example, I'll give an example. The name of my brand is Digital Babe, right? And obviously my brand is how I present myself or my identity to people. So now I'm a digital marketing specialist. I focus on social media management, email marketing, and copywriting online, right? That's what people know me for, right? That's how I present myself to my audience, and that's what differentiates me from other brands, from other digital marketers, from other social media managers, right? So that's very important. Secondly, your brand identity is what helps people easily remember and recognize your brand, which could be your brand color and logos. Now, when you think of the Digital Babe, you think of color blue and color yellow, because that's my brand color. Even if you don't think of yellow, you think of blue, because I always use that color blue. right? So whenever you come across my videos, you even know that I'm the one, because at the end of every of my videos I always say you're welcome. So that's like that's how my brand is, that's how my brand feels to my audience. They already know what my brand is about. So that is what your brand identity is about. When people see the digital beep, they already know, oh yes, it's me. That's how my content is. They are able to identify with my brand, right? The third point here says your brand identity includes your logos, colors, fonts, because they are the little but important things that help people recognize your brand. Now, for my brand, I don't really use flyers. It was a long time I used to use flyers, but when I used to use flyers, you could see my color blue and color yellow. You could always see my logo, the digital babe, there. Even when I want to organize webinars and trainings, you always see my blue and white, blue and yellow logo there, right? So it's very important. They're the little but important things that help people recognize your brand. Now, for instance, if I'm going to be doing a flyer today, I will not just use any color, I will not just use any logo, I will use my brand color, I'll use my brand logo, because that is how people will be able to identify my brand. If I use a different color, people will probably think, oh, maybe she forgot to use her brand color, or people will probably think, oh, maybe it's not the digital babe. So that's what brand identity is about. And then the other point here says your brand identity also reflects what your brand stands for and believes in. So for example, your brand could believe strongly in productivity and efficiency. Now my brand is well associated with social media management, email marketing, and copywriting. That's what I talk about. That is the things I stand for on social media. I also stand for productivity. I also stand for goal writing and all of that. So that's what my brand stands for in my social media space. Now, what is the first thing you remember when you think of the Nike brand? Obviously, when you think of the Nike brand, you think of running shoes. You think of the that their logo that is like this, right? You think of the biggest sports brand. That's their brand identity. That's what people know them for. That's what their audience know them for. Now, I love Nike. I'm a big Nike lover, right? So obviously I already know what Nike is about. I know that they are about running shoes, they're about sports gears and all of that. So that's what Nike is about, right? So whatever you think about is their brand identity. So for you now, put yourself in your audience shoes. When they think about your brand or your brand that you're about to build, what would they be thinking about? So it's very important to position your brand identity very well so that your audience will understand what your brand is about. Now, what's the first thing you remember when you think of YouTube? You think of videos, you think of that red logo with a play sign, you think of so many interesting things. That's what YouTube is about. That's YouTube's brand identity. So now I want you to begin to envision your brand identity, what your brand identity will be like, what will people say when they come across your brand or when they see your brand online. So that's very, very important. And lastly, a brand identity is like your brand's personality. It's like your brand's person. It's like your brand is a person. That's literally what your brand personality is about, right? Now I'm a whole person. My brand is a whole person too. My name is Runo, right? But people that know my brand, they know me as the digital babe. So my brand has its own personalities. Like I'm two personalities. I'm Runo and I'm also the digital babe. And people that know me as digital babe, they know that yes, that's my brand, right? That's very important. Your brand identity is also how your brand looks, sounds, and feels to others. So it's not just about your logo and your color. It's also about how your brand sounds. How do you do your videos? How do you do your content when people come across them? And how do people feel when they see your videos and your brand and all of that? Just like how people have their own unique personalities, your brand has its own unique identity. So now maybe my friends know me for, oh, she's very kind, she's very nice. What do they know your brand for? My brand is known for always sharing social media tips, always sharing very fun videos, tutorials, and tips, and all of that. So that's what your brand is about. What's that thing that sets it apart from others? It's very important. That's your brand identity. It is what makes people recognize and remember your brand, right? So when people come across your brand, what do they feel? What do they remember your brand for? That's important. Brand identity includes things like your brand's logos, colors, fonts, and the way you talk to your audience. It's all about creating a consistent and memorable experience for your customers. That's what your brand identity is all about. We have looked through what brand identity is all about. Now we're going to be moving forward to why is a brand identity is important. So why should you have a brand identity? Why is it important? The first point here says brand identity helps people recognize and remember your brand amongst others. Now there are so many brands out there. There are so many social media managers that have a brand. what sets your own brand apart. That is why branding is important. It helps people to actually recognize and remember your brand. Now there are so many shoe brands, but Nike is different because they have a different logo, they have a different color, they have a different feel to the way their brand is, unlike other shoe brands. So brand identity helps people recognize and remember your brand. So when they come across the color blue, when they come across the color yellow, they know that yes, that's the digital big brand. So it helps people to recognize your brand. But if your brand doesn't have a brand identity per se, if you are just there, if you don't have a brand identity, then people won't be able to recognize your brand. They won't be able to remember your brand because you are doing things normally. You don't have a brand identity. So that is why a brand identity is important. Secondly, a brand identity sets your brand apart from competitors, showing what makes you unique. Now, when you have a brand identity, you don't have to compete with anybody because your brand is different. Your brand has a whole identity and it is different from other brands. So you don't have to say, oh, I want to do what this other person is doing. You don't have to do that because you already have a brand identity. You have what your brand stands for. You have what it is that makes your brand, right? So your brand identity helps you to stand out from competitors and also show what makes you unique. The third point here says a strong brand identity builds trust with customers, showing consistency and professionalism. Now, once you stick to your brand identity, you say, okay, yes, this is the brand color I use, this is the brand font I use, this is the brand logo I use, this is the personality of my brand. Once you stick to all those things consistently, people will take you seriously. They will trust you. So imagine if a big brand like Nike, they are changing their logos every 2 days or every 3 days. People will be like, this brand is not serious, because you have to stick to one thing. You have to have a particular brand identity, right? If at all you want to change your brand identity, it shouldn't be so soon, or it shouldn't be so frequently or regularly, right? That's very important. So a strong brand identity will help you to build trust with your customers and show consistency and professionalism. The other point here says it can create an emotional connection with your audience, making them feel more attached to your brand. Now, I really love this. I love this point because when you have your whole brand identity, right, your audience already knows, yes, this is this person's brand, this is your brand. They feel like they are connected to you one way or the other. When they come across your post, they know that, oh yes, this is our brand, these are color, I love seeing our colors. They are connected to you. Unlike when you start showing up with different colors, different fonts, different formats of videos, different type of logos, they won't really be connected because they're like, oh, this person is probably going to just change their logo tomorrow and next tomorrow. So they don't feel like they want to even commit to you, right? But brand identity is important because it helps you to create an emotional connection with your audience and you make them feel more attached to your brand. The last point here says brand identity helps you maintain a consistent look, voice and message across all your marketing efforts. So you are not just doing every and anything. You are actually sticking to your brand identity. It helps you to be consistent. So that is why brand identity is very, very, very important. I've spoken to you about what brand identity is and why a brand identity is important as a social media manager, building your personal brand. Now we are going to go ahead to why you need unique value proposition for your personal brand. And I know I've been speaking a lot about making your brand unique, what makes your brand stand out and all of that. Your unique value proposition, which is your UVP in personal brand as social media manager, is what sets you apart from other social media managers. Now, there are so many other social media managers that are building their personal brand on platforms like Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all of that. And they have their own different ways of putting out their content, of building their brand. That's their UVP. That's what makes them unique, right? For example, now my brand, the Digital Babe brand, I'm associated with the color blue and yellow, right? So whenever you see my video, you see my flyer, you already know that, oh yes, this is Digital Babe, right? And at the end of every of my video, I always have this signature thing that I always do, and I say you're welcome. So that's one of the things that make my brand unique. That's not in itself the unique value proposition, but that's, I mean, part of it. So you must have your UVP if you want to build your personal brand as a social media manager. Your UVP tells people why they should pick you over other social media managers. It could be your short form videos that you put out there, it could be your form of writing, it could be your form of editing. It just makes people know that, oh yes, I think I should pick her, she has a unique writing skill. That's your unique value proposition. It could be your expertise, your creativity, or your unique approach that nobody else has. It's what makes you shine in a competitive field of social media management. Now, I'm sure somebody will be asking, okay, so how do I go about crafting my UVP? How do I go about presenting or crafting out my unique value proposition? Now, the first step, you must understand your audience. know who your audience is and what they are looking for. Your UVP should address their needs and show them why you are the best choice for them. So for example, if your audience are trying to learn the skill of social media management, show them the reasons why they should actually pick you as the best tutor. So for you to actually craft out your UVP, you must understand your audience. And for example, before understanding your audience, you already know what your brand is about. So let's say, for example, you're a social media management coach. So you're a social media management coach, and there are hundreds of social media managing coaches out there. So what makes your own social media management coaching better than others? That's your unique value proposition. So you must know that, and that way you must also understand your audience as well. So what can you do for them that will make your brand unique to them, right? So it could be your learning, it could be your teaching skills, it could be your skill of putting out content and all of that. Second way of crafting your UVP: research your competitors. Look at what other social media managers are offering and find a gap that you can fill. Now, there are other social media managers, but your UVP is what sets you apart. So let's say, for example, they're just regular social media managers that manage pages and do all of that, but maybe you might want to make your own unique in such a way that you want to look for something that they are not doing yet, so you want to fill a gap. Your UVP should highlight what makes you different from others. So your UVP should not only be unique, it should actually make a difference. It should be a gap that you are about to fill in that social media management space. So you must research your competitors and also find a gap that you can fill as well. Third step: be authentic. Your UVP should reflect who you truly are. Don't try to be someone you are not. Don't say, oh, because this person's social media management brand is like this, I want to make my own like this. No, be authentic. That's what makes your unique value proposition unique, right? That's what makes it authentic. So you must be authentic. And then the last step into crafting your UVP: once you have a UVP, test it out and see how people respond. So for example, you have already found out that gap that you are going to fill, then start putting it out there. Let your audience begin to understand what your brand is about and why you are unique and why they should pick you, right? And then just start monitoring it. If it's great, then continue with it, but if it's not, then just refine and do what it is that you think is good. I've spoken about why your unique value proposition is important and how to craft a unique value proposition. Now we are going to be moving forward to how to identify your brand target audience and niche. So for instance, you want to start your personal brand, which you want to start because you are watching this course or you are taking this course, right? So now you want to identify your target audience. You are not sure of the people that will be consuming your content or your brand or whatever it is, and you are not also sure about your niche. So for example, you want to go into digital marketing, but you're not sure which niche to focus on. Now I will show you how you can actually identify your brand target audience and niche. So the first step: write down your goals. Your goals are very, very important. Once you have a goal of what it is that you want to do, so for example, if your goal is to become a social media management coach for beginners in social media management, your messaging might focus on providing practical tips and strategies specifically tailored to that audience. So now, knowing your goals or writing out your goals is actually very important because it actually helps you to know what it is that you want to do. You are already clear on that. So now your goal is to become a social media management coach. So most especially, or most importantly, right, if you want to become a social media management coach, then your messaging or your brand will be focused on providing practical tips and strategies specifically tailored to that audience. So you are trying to teach people that are going to go into social media management. So writing your goals is very, very important at this step. Step two: research your audience. If you are going to be targeting people that want to learn social media management, start by understanding who these individuals are, right? So for example, they could be aspiring social media managers looking to break into the field. They could be entrepreneurs seeking to manage their own social media presence, or they could even be professionals looking to upskill. So it's very important that you research your audience, because now there are so many people that want to learn social media management. They might not just want to learn because they want to teach people. They might learn because they want to manage their personal brand. They might learn because they just want to have knowledge. So it's very important that you research your audience. That is very, very important. So you can do this by conducting surveys. So you can ask questions with a Google form or whatever it is. You can do interviews, or you can even use your social media analytics. That's if you already have an existing Instagram page or a social media platform, to gather information about their demographics, their interests, their challenges. You understand your audience. Understanding your audience will help you tailor your content to meet their specific needs and interests. So once you understand your audience, once you research about your audience, you already know what it is that you want to be putting out for your audience that you already understand. That's very important. Step three: Identify their needs. Aspiring social media managers might struggle with how to go about starting a social media management career, creating engaging content, managing multiple social media accounts, etc. There are so many things. Understanding their challenges will help you to actually create content and resources that address these specific needs and provide value to them. So you must understand what it is that they need from you. By the time you start addressing their challenges with every of your content that you put out there, that way you are helping them, right? And they want to even engage with you more. So that's important. Step 4, define your niche. This cannot be overemphasized. Don't go about going into so many things. For example, you are into digital marketing, you want to go into SEO, you want to go into influencer marketing, you want to go into copywriting. So many, don't do that. Define your niche, and that will even help people to trust you more. So defining your niche, you have to distinguish yourself from other social media managers with a personal brand online. Concentrate on your strengths and what sets you apart. For instance, you might specialize in visual storytelling, a particular industry, or even a unique approach to content creation. Identify the aspect that makes you different and capitalize on that aspect. So you don't have to go into all the aspects. No, look for your strengths, look out for your strengths, and focus on that area of strength that you have. Step 5, create an ideal buyer persona. Now, since you are targeting aspiring social media managers, you can create a persona named social media Sam. So now you are just trying to you are trying to craft out an ideal buyer or an ideal audience for your brand, right? So for example, you can create a buyer persona named social media Sam. Sam is a recent graduate. So now you are trying to profile Sam. You are trying to profile your ideal buyer persona. So you are saying Sam is a recent graduate, and during the course of this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can actually craft your ideal buyer persona. So let's say Sam is a recent graduate interested in starting a social media career in social media management. He's tech savvy, creative, and eager to learn new skills. Sam is looking for practical, easy to understand tips and strategies to help him succeed in the competitive world of social media. By understanding Sam's needs and preferences, you can now tailor your content and messaging to resonate directly with him. So you are trying to create an ideal person or an ideal audience that would actually patronize you. That way you know what kind of messaging he likes, what type of content he likes, and what he wants to learn from you. So that's very important. Create an ideal buyer persona for your brand. And now the 6th step, continually test and refine your strategy. So for example, you want to make sure that your strategy is working, so continually test it and actually refine it as time goes on. The final and most important step is to continually test your strategy to see if it resonates with your audience, right? Monitor your engagement and feedback that you receive, and be open to making adjustments. Don't just say, oh, this is my ideal person, I'm going to stick to this. What if it doesn't work for you? That's why I said it's very important to refine. If your strategy isn't achieving the desired results or the results that you want, it's time to go back to the drawing board, reevaluate your goals, your audience, messaging, and refine your approach until you find what works for your personal brand. Now I've shown you the step-by-step process on how to actually identify your target audience. Now I'm just going to be showing you an ideal buyer persona example. So this is my ideal buyer persona, right? I just wrote this. So the name of my ideal buyer persona, you can just give him a name, Sam Emeka, and he's 23 years old. His location is Lagos, Nigeria. His occupation is a recent graduate looking to start a career in social media management. His interests are technology, creativity, learning new skills, and all of that, right? And then his goals. So he wants to succeed in the competitive field of social media management. So basically, this is just an ideal buyer persona. Now, this buyer persona would actually be an emphasis for almost everyone that is buying from your target audience. So this is just an ideal person. It's not set in stone, but most of this information would actually help you to know what your buyers need, their challenges, their interests, and all of that, right? So yeah, that is that. And then we have his challenges. He's trying to navigate the complexities of social media, standing out in the crowded field. So his values are authenticity, creativity, and innovation. And this is very important, guys. The preferred social media platforms. So you will normally find Sam Emeka on Instagram. You normally find him on LinkedIn. So now that you have this information, it's left for you to now say, okay, my ideal buyer persona, they are mostly on Instagram and LinkedIn. So I'm going to build a presence there instead of building a social media presence on Snapchat or on TikTok. Meanwhile, they are not there, right? So that is the whole point of an ideal buyer persona. It will help you to strategize. It will help you to know what and what not to do, right? And then the key message. So now, with all the things that you have written down about your ideal buyer persona, about Sam Emeka, So with all this information now, you have crafted the key message. So now you're going to provide Sam with practical, easy to understand strategies that emphasize authenticity, creativity, that will help him succeed in social media management. So now that is the whole point of writing a buyer personnel, an ideal buyer personnel, or crafting out an ideal buyer personnel template, because it helps you to know what your customers want from you, their challenges, their values, their Instagram, their social media platforms, and all those other things. So yeah, this is just a template for you to use as well, so you can make use of this. But of course, you want to make sure that you write it in such a way that it suits your own ideal buyer personnel audience. Now we are moving on to how to identify your brand voice and tone. So somebody might be asking, okay, I'm building a personal brand as a social media manager. How do I know my brand voice? How do I know my brand tone? How do I discover all those things? So now the first point, to define your brand personality. Your brand personality also includes your voice, your tone, all those things. Think about what traits best describe your brand. So for example, for me, I think my brand is kind of friendly, kind of community wise. So you also, when you are also picking your brand voice and tone, you also take into consideration your own personality as well. So you might want to add a blend of your past personality, your own personality to your brand as well, right? So for example, you want to think about the trait that best describe your brand. You might want to make your brand friendly, professional, or funny. It's important that your brand's personality matches what your audience likes and your own style. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that your brand personality is your own style, so that you're not just doing something because you want to do it. You want to make sure it's your own style, you are cool with it, and also your audience likes it as well. Secondly, understand who your audience is by researching their likes, interests, how they talk. This will help you to speak to them in a way that they can relate to. So now, I just gave you an example of an ideal buyer personnel, which was Sam Emeka. Now you have all the details about your ideal personnel. Is interested in social media management, all of that. So now you already know his likes, his interests. So you want to now begin to talk how he wants you, or begin to express your brand in such a way that it will benefit Sam Emeka, which is your ideal buyer personnel. And also, when I say ideal buyer personnel, it's not just that, okay, you're just speaking to just Sam Emeka. No, it's your ideal buyer personnel, because that one person represents every other person in your audience, right? So that is what that is. And also, you want to make sure your brand has a clear message that you want to share. This message should be the same across all your social media accounts. So for example, on your Instagram, let's say you have Instagram, you have TikTok, and you have Twitter, you want to make sure that you are talking about social media management on Instagram, you're talking about it on Twitter and TikTok as well. So you don't want to say, oh, on Instagram I'll talk about social media management, on Twitter I'll talk about web design. People will not take you seriously. You want to make sure that your brand has a clear message, right, across all your social media platforms. It might not be exactly the same, but it should be the same message. So for example, Twitter, the same way you post on TikTok or on Instagram is not the same way you post on Twitter. Twitter is more conversational, like I've said before in the previous lessons. So you want to make sure that in all that you do, make sure that your brand message is very clear, right? And people know that, oh yes, this is what this person is into, right? Also, now we're still talking about how to identify your brand voice and tone. So you want to create rules for how your brand should sound and act, so that you're not just caught off guard and you're not just doing any and everything, right? So this helps you keep your messaging consistent and make sure that your audience knows what to expect from you. Also, you want to be consistent in how you talk to your audience. Not today you say, oh, you're acting friendly, and tomorrow you're acting professional. I'm not saying that sometimes you cannot interchange. Sometimes there are some tones that call for some particular type of content or subject or whatever it is that you're discussing. But in all, you want to make sure that you are consistent in how you talk to your audience. You want to use the same tone and style in all your posts and interaction. This helps your audience recognize your brand easily. And lastly, you want to ask your audience for feedback on how they see your brand. So from time to time, you want to ask Q&A questions, give them polls on Instagram. Oh, what do you think about this post? What do you think about my content? Please, your feedback will help me improve and all of that. So this will also help you to improve your brand voice and make it more effective in reaching your audience. We have spoken about how to identify your brand voice and tone. Now we're speaking on tips for creating content that aligns with your brand identity. Now you have a brand identity, you have crafted out your brand identity. Now for the first step on how to create content that aligns with your brand identity. Step 1, to create content that matches your brand identity, start by defining what your brand stands for. Think about your values, goals, and all of that that makes you unique. So that will help you to actually create content for your brand that aligns with your brand, most importantly. Step two, next, you want to understand your audience and what they care about. So you want to tailor. This is key when you are creating content for your brand. It is all about your audience, because at the end of the day you are creating content for them to consume and not for yourself. So your content has to revolve around what your audience needs, their interests, their challenges, and all of that, right? Step three, you want to be consistent in how you present yourself. Use the same tone, style, visuals in all your posts. I already spoke about that. Step four, tell your story authentically. Now, don't forget that you have a personal brand, right? No matter what it is that you're talking about, social media management, email marketing, and you want to also be clear that you're not the only one doing that thing. You're not the only one that has a personal brand. So you want to make sure that you are unique. Like I spoke about your unique value proposition in our previous lessons. You want to make sure that you tell your story authentically. So don't just come and do regular things that regular people do. Make sure that you make your own authentic, share your experiences, insights, behind the scene moment that reflects your brand personality. People want to see fun stuff. They don't just want to see regular stuff that they see already. That's why I said when you are building a personal brand, you want to be sure that you know what makes you unique from others, what makes you stand out from other social media managers, so that when you are coming out to build your personal brand, people know that yes, this girl is different, my brand is different, right? That is important. Step five, engage with your audience. This is very important, especially when you are thinking community wise, right? Especially when you want to build a community. You're not just coming on there to just push your brand in people's faces. You want to actually engage with them, you want to communicate with them, right? So it's important that you engage with your audience, respond to their comments, ask for feedback, create conversations around your content. It's very important, and it will give you long-term growth, right? It might not happen immediately when you start building your brand, but in the long run, you see that people like you, people like your content, people can communicate with you easily because you communicate with them. Step six, which is the last step, finally, be creative and experiment. This is something I always say to people that are building their personal brand. Experiment is not a hard thing, right? It's not a bad thing to experiment with different types of content. If you see that this one is not working for you today, try another one, try this one, try whatever works for you and stick to it. So thank you very much for listening to module 2, and I will see you in module 3. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome to module 3 of this course, things to avoid when building a personal brand as a social media manager. Welcome to module 3. In module 3, we're going to be looking at how to choose social media platforms for your personal brand. And for our table of contents, we have introduction, why is it important to choose the right social media platform for your personal brand, factors to consider when choosing a social media platform for your brand, steps to selecting the right social media platform for your personal brand, a detailed look at popular social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, tips for stepping up your social media, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, what to consider when creating content for your personal brand, and also what are the strategies for maximizing engagement and reach for your personal brand. We have a lot planned out for module 3. And just a brief introduction, in the past modules, which is module 1 and module 2, I taught you about the importance of personal branding as a social media manager, and I also helped you identify your brand personality. If you think back, in module 1 we spoke about why it's important to have a personal brand as a social media manager. In module 2 we spoke about how to identify your brand identity, which is your brand personality as well. And now in module 3 we'll be looking at how to choose social media platforms for your personal brand. This is very important because it will help you position your brand in front of your targeted audience on social media. So let's get started in module 3. So we are going to be looking at why it's important to choose the right social media platform for your personal brand. And without even going into it already, you know that it is very important to choose the right social media platform for a lot of reasons. So I'm going to be taking the first one. Choosing the right social media platform will help you reach the right audience interested in your content or services. Now, let me paint this scenario. You are a maybe a cake brand, and your business is on Instagram, is on TikTok, is on LinkedIn. Now, why is it on LinkedIn? Because most people will not even want to buy a cake and go on LinkedIn and look for vendors, right? So that way you're already doing like you're wasting your efforts on LinkedIn when you should be focusing on the platform where your audience are on, which is Instagram and maybe TikTok or maybe Snapchat, right? So it's important that choosing the right social media platform will help you reach the right audience interested in your content or your services. So it is very important to be on the right social media platform, especially for your personal brand. Secondly, choosing the right platform gives you useful information about your audience, helping you make your content better. Now, when you have already figured out that, oh, my audience, they're actually on Instagram and they're engaging with your posts, they're doing so many things with your content, you would get more information about them because you are in the right platform. Right, so let's say, for example, somebody orders a cake from your Instagram page, and then maybe when they were done with ordering the cake, they told you that they now told you, oh, I think you should do the cake this way next time. The delivery guy didn't deliver it properly. You get to hear more information about your audience, even down to, oh, I think you should add this to your menu. I think you should do that. You will hear useful information because you are on the right social media platform. So choosing the right social media platform gives you useful information about your audience, helping you to make your content better or even your brand better. It's not only your content. Thirdly, every platform has its own way of sharing content. Choosing the right one means your content fits in and it's more engaging. So now, you cannot tell me that you are selling cakes and then you go and put your cake on LinkedIn. Nobody really cares about cake on LinkedIn. Everybody just wants to come on LinkedIn, get jobs, network with people, and all of that, right? So every platform has its own way of sharing content. You want to make sure that you're on the right platform, so you will be able to share your content in such a way that it will be more engaging to your audience. Now, the other point here says the right platform lets you interact better with your audience and build stronger connections with them. When you see that most of your audience are on Instagram, you are able to interact better with them, right? You are able to engage with them more. They are able to engage with you more. You're also able to build connections with them as well. And then the last point here says selecting the right platform can help you save money by concentrating your efforts where they work best instead of spreading your resources too thin. Now, this is very important, and I said it earlier. You can't be a cake vendor and then you're on LinkedIn or you're on Snapchat. You are wasting your efforts, right? When you should be putting your efforts into what is working, which is where your audience are actually at, where your right audience are in, right? So for example, your audience can be on Instagram, so you are making sure that you maximize Instagram platform very well because that's where your audience is on. So that's that about that. It's very important to choose a right social media platform for your brand, and I'm already sure that you know the reason why, right? Now, I've gone ahead to speak to you about why it's important to choose the right social media platform for your brand. Now, we are going to be looking at factors to consider when choosing a social media platform for my brand. So, you might be asking the question, okay, you have told me why it's important that I should choose a right social media platform. So, how do I go about doing that? Now, first things first, you must consider your target audience. Before you go and start building your personal brand on Instagram or on Twitter, you must ask yourself this question. Is my audience on Instagram? Is my audience on Twitter? Is my audience on Snapchat? Is my audience on LinkedIn? So you must consider your target audience first, because at the end of the day, your brand that you are trying to build, your audience is the one that is going to consume your content. They are the ones that are going to patronize you. So you must consider your target audience before picking a social media platform for your brand. Ask yourself questions like, what social media platform do my audience hang out? You can get this information up by also crafting out a detailed target audience using your template. So previously in module 2, I shared with you how to know your brand niche and also your target audience, and we went ahead to build a ideal buyer persona template. So you want to go ahead to do that, right? You want to try to craft that out and also know what social media platform your audience are hanging out on. Secondly, ensure that the platform that you consider choosing aligns with your brand image and values. So now you don't want to put your brand values at the back seat. You have a brand, you have a brand identity, you have a brand personality. So this is the first thing that you should even consider. Does this platform align with my brand image and values, right? Just to maintain consistency. For example, some companies might not choose Snapchat or even TikTok because their brand image is very professional per se, right? So you will not see some companies on TikTok or even on Snapchat because they have a kind of brand personality that they're trying to keep up with, right? So your brand image and values must also match the platform that you are on. That's very important. Thirdly, different platforms support various content formats like images, videos, or text. Choose based on your content strategy. So now what this is trying to say is that, for example, most of your content that you put out is like video formats, it's like video pictures and all of that. You want to consider Instagram and Snapchat only if your audience is on that platform. But if you are a company or if you're a brand that you always put out text and just plain text and all of that, you want to consider LinkedIn, right, which is a bit professional. Choose based on your content strategy. So for example, with LinkedIn, you will hardly see videos and reels, mostly written content. Now, I'm not saying that you would not see videos on LinkedIn. You would, but you wouldn't see as much as you would see on Instagram or on TikTok. Fourth point here says choose platforms that provide analytics and insights to track your performance and see how your brand is performing on social media. Of course, most of the social media platforms that we have out there, like Instagram, you can see your Instagram insights, you can see your analytics, you can see how your engagement or your posts are performing. So you want to make sure that you include that as well. And then the last point here says study where your competitors are active to identify potential platforms. So somebody might say, okay, I'm just starting my personal brand. I don't really have an audience. I'm just trying to build my audience. So let's say, for example, you are a skincare brand, right? So you want to go and research other skincare brands because you are trying to enter the market. You don't know a lot of things about skincare. You don't know a lot of things about skincare audience. So you want to research people that have been there before. You want to see platforms that they are on and they are thriving. So you want to make sure that you study your competitors as well. Now we have gone ahead to look at factors to consider when choosing a social media platform for your brand, right? So now we are going to steps to selecting the right social media platform for your brand. So you can actually be doing this as I am doing right now. So you can get a pen and a paper, and then we can start the process of selecting the right social media platform for your brand. Step one, know your goals or write down your goals. So you can start doing it as I am actually talking. What do you want to achieve on social media? Whether it's getting more people to know about your brand, selling stuff, or getting leads, know your main goal. This helps you pick the right social media sites like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, anyhow. So you already know that if you want to sell stuff on social media, Instagram is the place for you because Instagram has so many tools that would actually help you to aid selling your stuff, right? It has catalogs, it has a lot of things that you can do. You can showcase your website on Instagram. So you want to write down your goals. This will help you to also identify or quote and in quote select the right social media platform for your brand. Step two, identify your target audience. I've been hammering on this thing a lot because it's very important. Your target audience will be the one, or your ideal audience, they will be the one to patronize you, they will be the one to consume your content. So identify your target audience, understand who your audience is, their demographics, interests, online behavior. This will guide you in choosing the right social media platform. I already said it. So the first step, you want to write down your goals, right? So write down your goals and see if your goal aligns with any of the social media platform and begin to write it down. Step two, you already know your target audience by this time because I have already gone over that in module 2. So you already know where your target audience will be. So write it down. So we want to make sure that at the end of this lesson, you already know the social media platform where you will showcase your personal brand on. Step 3, research different platforms. So you want to check out different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. See what each one of them is good at and who uses them. But now I mean research. So you're going online, you're going on Google, you're checking, where can I get, which social media platform can I get more sales on? You can see TikTok, you can see Instagram. So you want to make sure that you research, not only research as per Google or searching on the internet, you also want to research your competitors as well, right? So look at the kind of posts that you can make on each site and usually who uses them. So that's very, very important. Step 4, match platforms to your goals and audience. This is very important. It was in step 1 and step 2. Step 1, I said write down your goals. Step 2, I said know your audience, right? Know your target audience. So now select platforms that align with your goals and your target audience. For example, if you are targeting a professional audience, LinkedIn might be suitable more than TikTok. So you want to start writing this down. This is a practical class, so I want you to follow me as I go. Step 5, review your competitors and their strategies. Study the competitors. Now with each of all these steps, you want to make sure that you are practicalizing it. You want to make sure that you are writing down the platforms. You want to make sure that you are doing as I am saying, right? So step 5, review your competitors and their strategies. Study your competitors and their social media strategy. See what platform they are using successfully and learn from their approach. So here you want to go and start reviewing other brands that are like yours or similar to yours, and then you want to see the strategy that they are using. Maybe if they are thriving on Instagram, they are thriving on TikTok, and all of that. Step 6, test and reevaluate. Start with a few selected platforms and test your strategy. Monitor the performance of your content and campaign and evaluate their effectiveness. Now this is a step that you will do as you go. So if you have already chosen your platforms already with all the steps that we have stated, then now this is something that you will do in the long run. So now let's say you choose Instagram and TikTok, then you start putting out your content. Of course, you will have written your content strategy already and you see if it's working. So this is where this step comes into play. You now test and you reevaluate. Step 7, stay consistent and engage. Maintain a consistent presence on your chosen platforms and engage with your audience. Don't say that, now I've chosen the right platform for my brand, I will now go and sleep. No, there is work to do. Because you have chosen the right platform does not mean that you will now go and sleep, right? You must make sure that you engage and you are consistent as well. That's very, very important. At this point, we are going to be taking a detailed look at popular social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Now, we have spoken to you about steps that you take to choosing the right social media platform for your brand. Now, we are going to look at these platforms individually. We are going to look at them closely, right? Understanding these platforms can help you choose the right ones for your brand. Even though you have already chosen, we are going to go ahead to actually take a detailed look at each of them so that you can always like change your mind or even always pick the one that is right for you, right? We want to make sure that this is as in-depth as possible. Now, by knowing more about these platforms, you can make smarter decisions for your brand's online presence. So let's dive in and explore how these platforms can benefit your brand. Now we're going to be taking a detailed look at Instagram. In case you do not already know what Instagram is, I don't want to be sure that you actually know about it. Some people might not know about it. So if you are part of that category, this is Instagram. This is Instagram app, right? This is Instagram. I'm sure you can already see it at the top of the screen. So now, when you think of Instagram, for those that know about Instagram, when you think of Instagram, you can already think videos. You already think funny videos. You already think videos. You already think visuals. You already think things that you can see with your eyes, right? So now for Instagram, it's all about visual storytelling. Instagram is great for sharing stories through pictures, videos, and it makes it easier for people to connect with your brand visually. So if you are that brand that you want to put out videos, you want to put out pictures, you want to tell stories, you want to put out tutorials, Instagram is that app for you because Instagram is all about visuals. People even go ahead to even do skits, to even do funny videos, to even do short videos on Instagram, right? So it is very important. Even on Instagram, you can post at least, I think you can post even up to a 5-minute video or even more. So that's to tell you how visual Instagram is. Second thing that you should know about Instagram, if you want to showcase your brand, the Instagram is the app for you. You can use Instagram to show off your brand and what makes it special. Now, Instagram is very visually appealing, right? So for example, if you go to someone's profile, you already know that you can see a lot of things about the person's brand. There are lots of things that you can know about the person's brand just by going through their Instagram page. So if you are that brand that you want to actually showcase your brand, Instagram is that app for you. Now, just a look at my Instagram page, right? You can already know a few things about my brand in just 2 minutes of scrolling through my bio or scrolling through my videos. You already know things about my brand. So that's how much Instagram is so amazing. You can showcase your brand. So if you are that brand and you want to showcase yourself through videos, through flyers, through pictures, Instagram is that place for you. The third point here says engagement and relationship. By using Instagram well, you can interact with your audience and build strong relationships with them over time. Now, Instagram is a place where you don't only put out videos, but you also connect and engage with your audience. So, for example, I post a video on my Instagram page, right? And then I just put a nice caption there. I'm telling a nice story on my video. My audience want to connect with me. They want to maybe agree with my point of view. They want to disagree. They can be like, oh, I don't think that's correct. They can be, oh, it's correct. So that way they are engaging with me. Instagram is the platform in which you can engage with your audience. For example, let's say I'm a particular audience for the Digital Babe brand, and I always put on that post notification on so that anytime the Digital Babe post, I would see her post. So that way, I'm already becoming a loyal fan because I look forward to her videos. That way, I'm building a relationship with her, and she's not even aware about that. So I'm building a relationship with that brand. So it's very important. If you want to build engagement, relationships, Instagram is that app for you. And also promotional features. Instagram has features like hashtags, geotags, stories, reels that can help you promote your brand and reach more people. Now, if you know Instagram very well, you know the reels section, right? This is the reels section right here where you can see reels. I don't know if you can see this, but you see different reels. Basically, that's the reel section. That's to show you how much you can promote your brand on Instagram. So now you can post a reel today, a 1-minute reel, or even a 50-second reel, and that reel will not only reach your followers, it will also reach people that are not following you. It depends on how engaging and how captivating your content is. So your content can be promoted on Instagram. You can even go as far as even putting hashtags, and when people search for that hashtags, your brand comes there, right? So it's very, very important. If you want to promote your brand, then Instagram is the place for you. Also, humanizing your brand. Sharing behind the scene moments on Instagram can make your brand feel more human. So now I'm just trying to tell you how Instagram is, right? I'm trying to give you a detailed explanation of Instagram. So if you want to choose Instagram for your brand, Instagram will help you humanize your brand in such a way that I can go through your Instagram bio today and I already think I know things about you because I can see your videos. You can tell me about yourself. You can put in stories, right? So Instagram will humanize your brand. Also on Instagram, this is very important, virality potential. If you create the right content, I already said it before, and use the right strategy, your post on Instagram can spread widely and be seen by so many people. Now I'll give an example. I have 2,000 followers on Instagram on my digital babe page, but it was a reel I posted one day and it reached over 14,000 people. Now, you cannot tell me that those people are all my followers, because obviously I have 2K and that video reached 14K. So you can see the virality potential of Instagram. Instagram is it has that virality potential. If you want to reach more people, if you want to have more sales, you want people to know about your brand awareness, Instagram is that place for you. Okay, I'm sure you're already like, oh my god, I want to speak Instagram. Instagram must be on the list. Okay, so also establishing authority. Instagram can help you become seen as an expert in your field, which can boost your credibility and influence. Now, I think there are over billions of users on Instagram, if I say so myself, or no. On Google, you can Google that, right? I know that there are lots of people that use Instagram, so you can now establish yourself as an authority that, okay, I'm a social media manager with all my posts that I put out there, and this thing that it takes time, it takes, your content must be good, you must know what you are doing for you to actually establish yourself as an authority. But Instagram has that potential, so you want to know about that. Also, overall impact. Instagram is key for building a strong personal brand online. It helps you create a strong presence that people remember and connect with. Now, if you are a brand, you can't tell me that you are not on Instagram. In fact, it's error. It's an error. You must be on Instagram, because Instagram has impact. There are lots of people, millionaires, billionaires, using Instagram that want to even be your potential buyer or potential clients. So you want to make sure that you pick Instagram. I'm not advising you now. I'm just telling you, and I'm just helping you know about the brand, be the app Instagram. Now we're moving on to LinkedIn. If you don't already know how the LinkedIn app looks like, this is LinkedIn, you guys, blue and white. Yeah. So now LinkedIn, the first thing that you should know about LinkedIn is for professional networking. In fact, when you first think about LinkedIn, you think about professionals, you think about, oh my god, those people are probably not in my league. So sorry to say, but that's what you think when you think about LinkedIn. At least that's what I think when I think about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is our professional networking. LinkedIn is the top platform for professionals to connect, network, and show their skills and experience. So if you are building a personal brand, like let's say, for example, you want to build a personal brand in social media management, of course, and you think that LinkedIn is the platform for you, you want to network with professionals. And I feel like even though you are not even building your brand on LinkedIn, you should have a LinkedIn platform as a social media manager, because of course you are there if you want to connect, you want to network, and you also want to showcase your skills and experience, so that one way or the other you will get to connect with likewise people in the field, and you also get to get jobs as well. So even if you are not trying to build your brand on LinkedIn, you should at least have a LinkedIn platform where you post at least once in a while, just to update people on your skill and your experience as a social media manager. So LinkedIn is all about professional networking. Also, visibility to employers and clients. It's where potential employers and clients look for people with specific skills and experience. So having a strong professional personal brand on LinkedIn is very crucial. So now, for example, if you actually want to now intentionally build your personal brand on LinkedIn, that means you want to get you want people to patronize your services. Let's say you are on the client side, so you want to get people that would patronize your social media management service. LinkedIn is actually a good place to be, because that way you are visible to employers, you are visible to clients. So it's a good place to be as well. Third point, complete and compelling profile. Now, if you want to succeed on LinkedIn, if you want to successfully build your brand on LinkedIn, you have to create a profile with a professional photo. Of course, you can't just go on LinkedIn and just do as you like. There are guidelines. If you want to be on LinkedIn, you have to create a profile with a professional photo, an eye-catchy headline, or I think there's this thing, a short biography of your experience that you put on LinkedIn. You have to have that as well, and a summary that highlights your unique skills and experiences. So that's very important. If you want to successfully build a brand on LinkedIn, then you have to have all this in place. Also, showcasing your work. Display your work experience, education, and skills on your profile to give full picture of who you are professionally. So if you want to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, you have to do this. You have to display your work experience, education. See, like I said, you can't just, LinkedIn is not on Instagram that you can just do anyhow. There are guidelines. If you want to be on LinkedIn, you have to do that, right? Also, engagement is key on LinkedIn. If you just sit down there and you're not doing anything, you'll probably not really build your brand on LinkedIn, because if you want to be on LinkedIn, you have to really engage with people, right? You have to engage with others on LinkedIn by commenting on their posts, sharing relevant articles, and connecting with other professionals in your field as well. Also, another important thing about LinkedIn is that it helps you to establish yourself as a thought leader in your field. So by engaging with others, you can position yourself as a thought leader in your industry, whether social media management industry or whatever, which can lead you to new opportunities as well. So that's the thing about LinkedIn. You have to make sure that you are very active, you engage a lot for you to now actually establish yourself, because it actually takes time to establish yourself as a thought leader in your field. That's very important. Also, LinkedIn is a powerful tool for building and promoting your personal brand, helping you stand out and also achieve professional growth. Now, I'm sure you are not really hyped up about LinkedIn, but this is just LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place to be. It's a great place to network. It's a great place to build your brand and all of that. But it's all up to you. It's all up to your target audience. If your target audience are on LinkedIn, then by all means, build your personal brand on LinkedIn. TikTok is a very unique social media platform. It is quite similar to Instagram, if I do say so myself, and I'm sure a lot of people would actually agree with me on this. So one thing you should know about TikTok is that TikTok is a very fast growing platform. Even I think it's even faster than Instagram. TikTok is the fastest growing social media platform globally with over 1 billion active users. So you should know that in fact there are even more people using TikTok than Instagram. Also, one thing I love about TikTok is that it helps you to reach new audiences. You can have one follower, you can even have two followers on TikTok, but people are constantly watching your videos. You can have two followers on TikTok and you can have over 1,000, 2K, 3K, even 4K views. TikTok will help you to actually reach new audiences, new people, right? And one thing I love about TikTok as well, TikTok algorithm favors creativity. TikTok's algorithm promotes engaging and creative content, increasing the chances of your content going viral. So just like Instagram, in fact, TikTok even helps you to even go viral more than Instagram. So TikTok has in fact, it has the virality potential even more than Instagram does. Also on TikTok, you also know that TikTok supports visual and short form content. This platform focuses on short, visually engaging videos, making it ideal for showcasing your creativity and personality on TikTok. So TikTok is great for that, if you ask me. Then also global reach. I've been saying it a lot. Global reach, virality, potentials. TikTok's popularity spans across the globe. So it's not only people in Nigeria that watch TikTok, all over the world, and it allows you to connect with a diverse audience. And if you're on TikTok, you know this already. TikTok has this live tool where people from Nigeria and other countries can even have these collaborative live sessions. So that's how much TikTok has a global reach. So it's not just Nigeria, it's other parts of the world as well, other countries, right? Also trend. I love this about TikTok. TikTok is a trend-driven platform in such a way that as a person or as a personal brand, or if you are building your personal brand and you jump on trends, you will actually go viral on TikTok. It has that huge potential, but you must make sure that if you want to pick TikTok as your social media platform for your brand, it is aligned with your values, aligned with your goals, and also your audience as well. Because one thing about TikTok audience and Instagram audience, they are not so similar, right? You should understand that. TikTok is known for its trend-driven nature, providing opportunities to participate in popular trends and increase your visibility. And everyone on TikTok knows this as well. If you are a musician and you have a song, and people should just start using that song to do a particular challenge or something, that song is literally going to have a lot of streams because TikTok is involved. That's to show you how much global reach and trend-driven TikTok is, right? Also, engagement and interaction. TikTok offers high levels of engagement. I said you can be on TikTok and have one follower and have like 2K, 3K, I'm talking 10K views. I've been there before, so I know how TikTok is, right? TikTok offers high value of engagement and interaction, allow you to build a loyal following. Lastly, opportunities for collaboration. The platform provides opportunities to collaborate with other creators and brand, expanding your reach and network. I already said it earlier. TikTok is the place where you can reach people all around the world, all around the country, all around the globe, right? So it has opportunities for collaboration and all of that. So you can meet a lot of people on TikTok. Unlike Instagram, TikTok is more open. So if you want to make sure that you choose TikTok as your social media platform for your brand, you want to make sure that it ticks all the list, which is your audience is on there, it aligns with your brand identity and goals and all of that. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Twitter, I don't know about you boys, conversations, right? Holding conversations, tweeting, writing your point of view and all of that. So that's what Twitter is about. Twitter, is it a visual platform? Yes, it is, but it is not so visual like Instagram. On Twitter, you have more text. You can share videos on Twitter, but people wouldn't engage with it as much like they would engage with tweets or conversations. So on Twitter, if you want to build your personal brand on Twitter, you just have to know that Twitter is more conversational. It's not somewhere that you share visuals a lot. It's not somewhere that you share videos and all of that a lot, right? It's a place where they make conversations, right? They talk about a lot of things. They tweet. That's what it's called, right? And also on Twitter, Twitter is a place to chat with lots of different people, share your ideas, like I said, and talk about things that interest you. So if you are a brand that most of the things that you share is visual videos, Twitter is honestly not the place for you, right? Twitter is not for everyone. I say it a lot. Twitter is not really a place where you build your personal brand, because not a lot of people really care. People just want to come on Twitter, share their opinion, share their 2 cents, and go and engage in conversations and all of that, right? Also, if you build a strong personal brand on Twitter, more people will see you, including others in your field and potential clients or partners. That's why I said if you build a strong personal brand. So on Twitter, they won't give you the chance like you are on TikTok, and then, for example, on TikTok, they won't give you, Twitter will not give you the chance that they will give you on TikTok or all other platforms like that. So if you're on Twitter, just know that you must be there to build conversation. That's the way you build your brand as well, right? That's about that. Also, share your expertise. Use tweets to share what you know, share helpful tips, and talk about what you love. Now, I'm just helping you to know how you are going to position your brand. If you say your audience is on Twitter, then you should use tweets to show what you know, share helpful tips, talk about what you love. So if you are a brand that you want to push that your brand on Twitter, that you want to make sure that you are more conversational, that you build conversations around your brand. And sometimes it might not necessarily be about your brand, but maybe something relating to your brand that will now come back to your brand as well, so that people can also be aware of your brand. Also, interact with your followers by replying to their comments on Twitter. You want to make sure that you are retweeting, you are replying, you are talking with people are talking with you, right? That's very important. You must be joining conversations if you're on Twitter. This helps you build relationships and also a sense of community on Twitter. I've given you a brief overview of all the social media platforms, well, the popular ones: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. So now I am moving on to tips for setting up your social media platforms. For Instagram, we have the first things first that you want to do on Instagram: choose a username. So you want to select a username that reflects your personal brand and it's also easy for people to remember. Now, this is very tricky because you want to make sure that the username that you pick, you are able to use it in the long run. Let's say down 10 years, 20 years, you like the username. So you want to make sure that you are not picking something because of the spur of the moment or because it's trendy. You want to make sure that you pick a username that in the next 20 to 30 years, you actually appreciate that username. You want to pick something sensible, something nice, something good that also relates to your personal brand as well. Second thing that you want to do on Instagram: your profile picture. Use a clear and professional profile picture that represents you or your brand. So you want to make sure that you're using I said clear now, emphasis on clear. So it does not even have to be professional because we're not on LinkedIn. So you want to make sure you use something that is nice and also reflects your brand as well. Thirdly, the most important thing, in fact, I feel like this is actually meant to be the first point, but because of your username. So the third point: bio. Write a compelling bio that describes who you are and what you do. Now, you want to be very simple. Don't go and be writing letters. Thankfully, Instagram has a limit to what you can actually put on your bio, because you know that if they actually leave it to 1,000 words, so many people will write their whole history on their bio. People don't need to know that. Just put three lines of that, what your brand does and why people should patronize you. Or not necessarily that you want to put what your brand is about, so that once I open your page, once I get into your page, I already know what you are about, right? Also, content strategy. You want to plan your content in advance and ensure that it aligns with your personal brand message and values. Also on Instagram, visual consistency. Maintain a consistent aesthetics in your post to create a cohesive look for your profile. So you want to make sure that you are not just posting any and everything. You are actually planning your grids, your Instagram grids. You are making it look very aesthetic and nice. People love to see aesthetic. They love to see really nice Instagram outlook. So you want to make sure yours is actually very nice as well. And then also on Instagram, you want to make sure that you engage with your audience. It's very important. I've spoken about this a lot. You want to respond to comments, message, and interact with other people or your audience to build relationships. So you don't want to be that brand that never replies to comment, never replies to DMs. You don't even have to reply to all of your DMs, because I know a lot of people have a lot of DMs, but you want to make sure that the least you do, you at least reply to your comments, also to engage with your audience as well. Now, you want to make sure that you use relevant hashtags in your posts to increase visibility and reach a wider audience. Also, you want to make sure that you post regularly. Stay active on Instagram by posting regularly to keep your audience engaged. Don't say you post on Monday and next time you post is next Monday. At least you should at least post 3 to 5 times a week on Instagram, or even 3 or 2 times. Doesn't matter, but make sure that you stay active. You don't go when you don't post during February and then in March and April we don't see you. You want to make sure that you are regular, right? Also, analyze your performance. Use Instagram Insights to track your performance on your post and adjust your strategy accordingly. You want to make sure that you analyze your how your posts are doing, your engagement, and all of that. And lastly, stay authentic. Be true to yourself and your brand, and let your personality shine through your photos, your content, and all of that. And now, tips for setting up your Twitter account. First thing that you want to do, of course, you want to choose a username. So you want to select a username that reflects your personal brand or your real name, or keep it professional and easy to remember. Also, you want to optimize your Twitter bio. So you want to write a compelling bio that summarizes who you are, what you do. You want to include keywords related to your industry or interest, and you want to make sure you also include that keyword related to your industry, because when a lot of people search for stuff like that on Twitter, like social media managers or social media management, they would see your page pop up as well. Also, you want to use a profile picture. So you want to use a clear, it doesn't have to be professional looking, that represents your brand or yourself. This helps people to recognize you and adds credibility to your profile. I don't see the reason why people would have a personal brand and not have a profile picture. Why? So why do you have a personal brand then? What should we know about that brand if you do not have a professional picture or a profile picture? So it's very important that you have a profile picture on any social media platform. Also, you want to tweet regularly. Consistency is key on Twitter. You want to share tweets regularly to keep your audience engaged and to establish yourself as an active member of the Twitter or X community. Also, you want to engage with others, which is very important. I said it before. You want to interact with other users by replying to their tweets, retweeting interesting content, and also participating in conversations, hereby building your relationships. Is very important for growing your presence on Twitter. Like I said, Twitter is a very conversational platform, so you want to make sure that you are constantly tweeting, you are engaging in conversation, talking about stuff, and all of that. Now, tips for setting up your TikTok account. The first thing that you want to do on TikTok, before you even consider even going on TikTok, you want to define your niche. Now, there are lots of people on TikTok these days. We have lifestyle creators, influencers, we have UGC creators, we have dancers, we have all lots of all those people. So you want to make sure that you have a particular niche before you enter TikTok. Let's say it's social media management. So you want to identify the specific topics or themes that you want to focus on in your TikTok content. This will help you attract a dedicated audience interested in your niche. So now TikTok is all about audiences, niche, all of that. And people follow people because of what they do or what they've constantly been doing. So for example, that particular person, maybe they come across your lifestyle content. So the person that follows you, they follow you because they want to see more lifestyle content. Or maybe someone follows your social media content. They followed you because they most likely want to be a social media manager, or they just love your content. So you want to make sure that you define your niche, so you are clear on your niche, so you're not doing too many things at a time. You want to make sure you have a particular niche for your personal brand, right? Secondly, before that, you want to make sure that you pick a really nice TikTok username. And me, for my personal brand, I actually have the same username across all platforms. So you want to do that, right? It depends on you. Also, you want to create engaging content. TikTok is all about creativity and entertainment. Use catchy music. Now on TikTok, you can use trendy music. There are so many things that you can do for your content. You can jump on trends, challenges, use engaging storytelling. People love storytelling. People love hooks on TikTok. I do it a lot, right? If I want to put a particular content, I start with a hook. That helps you to draw your audience in. So you want to make sure you create engaging content and also be authentic. TikTok users value authenticity. Show your personality and share genuine moments to connect with your audience on a deeper level. Also on TikTok, this works a lot. You want to make sure, even more than Instagram, you want to make sure that you use hashtags. Hashtags are essential for making your content very discoverable on TikTok. So you want to use relevant hashtags to increase the reach of your videos and also attract new followers. Lastly, consistency is key on TikTok. You cannot just post one video on TikTok today and run away. You have to consistently, pardon my English, you have to consistently keep posting engaging videos. Then people would actually come to trust you and actually follow you. So that's very important on TikTok. Now, LinkedIn, tips for setting up your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is really interesting. It's very unlike other platforms like Instagram and TikTok. So you want to make sure that you're actually real good for this. So the first thing that you want to do on LinkedIn, you want to complete your profile. When you open a new LinkedIn platform or a LinkedIn page, they will show you this thing, steps on completing your profile. They will show you step 1, step 2, something like that. So they'll tell you to choose a username. Of course, you do that. They'll tell you to add your certificates and all those things. So you want to make sure that you fill out all sections of your LinkedIn profile, including your summary, work experience, education and skills. And you want to also make sure that you use a professional photo and a compelling headline that describes your expertise. Now on Instagram, you don't need to use a professional photo, but on LinkedIn, it is pretty compulsory that you use a professional photo so that people will take you seriously. Because I mean, there are lots of serious people on LinkedIn, so you want to make sure that you use a professional photo and also a compelling headline that describes your expertise. So for example, you're a social media manager, so on your headline you can put social media manager. You can put a line, and then you also put brand babe or whatever you want. Also on Twitter, you want to make sure that you highlight your achievements. So you want to showcase your achievements, your project, your skills. People love to do that on LinkedIn, so you want to make sure that you do that. Demonstrate your expertise in your field. Use rich media such as images, video and presentations to make your profile stand out. Also on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you network and connect. If you're on LinkedIn and you're not networking or connecting, I don't know what you're doing. Connect with professionals, connect with people that are similar to your industry as well, likewise individuals, and expand your network. Engage with their posts and share valuable content to establish yourself as a top leader in LinkedIn, right? Also, you want to make sure that you also join LinkedIn group as well. There are a whole lot of groups on LinkedIn. We have digital marketing groups, we have social media management groups, we have writers group. We have so many groups like that, so you want to make sure that you participate in their discussions, share your insights. This also helps you to build credibility and trust because people know you and they trust you, right? Lastly, you want to share valuable content. You want to share, and it's pretty interesting on LinkedIn. You can actually share articles. There's this article place where you can write your article and people actually get to look at it. So you share articles, blog posts, and updates that are relevant to your industry. So you want to make sure that you are not going out of your niche, so that people do not say, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you not a social media manager?" Tomorrow you are posting about catering, or you are posting about something. And so you want to make sure that you are in your niche. This can help you establish yourself as a knowledgeable professional and attract new connections. Now we have spoken about a lot of things. We have spoken about steps to consider when picking a social media platform for your brand, what to consider, an overview of all the social media platforms, how to set up the social media platform, so many things. Now the next big thing that you're supposed to be thinking about now is your content, because you have chosen a social media platform for your brand or social media platforms for your brand, depending on you. Now we are going to look at what to consider when creating content for your personal brand. The first thing, I said it before and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to reiterate, right? The personal brand that you are trying to build, the content that you are putting out there is for your audience to consume, it's not for you, right? So you must always put your audience in the picture. So you have to think about who you are creating, trying to reach, and what they are interested in. Tailor your content to appeal to their preferences and needs, their challenges. And now I'm going to go back to your target audience template. You want to make sure that you write all this down so that when you reach this step, you already know what to do, right? Also, your brand message. You want to make sure that when you are creating content, you stay true to your brand values and goals. You always have to put that in there, because some people, they just want to follow trends. They want to be viral. They want to go viral. That's why they do some of the things, and they actually go against their brand values and goals. So you want to make sure that you always put that in picture as well. Your content should reflect what your brand stands for and what is unique. So you don't just say, oh, because something is trending, I want to jump on it, and it's not your brand value, it's not your brand personality. You want to make sure that you put that in place as well. Thirdly, platform suitability. Different platforms have different formats and audiences. Create content that fit that particular platform. So for example, your personal brand is on Instagram, it's on Twitter, and it's also on TikTok. Now the same content you put on Instagram is not the same that you put on Twitter. Obviously, you know that on Twitter, most things that are going to be on Twitter are tweets, are conversational. So you want to make sure that particular content you are putting out there suits the particular platform. That's where platform suitability comes about. Also, visual appeal. Use images, videos, and graphics to make your content visually appealing and also very engaging. Also, you want to be consistent. I talk about consistency all the time. I can talk about consistency all day. You have to be consistent. Don't say because people are not engaging with your content then you will stop posting. If you do that, you're only doing yourself, because when you stop posting, when you stop putting out content on social media, people do not trust you because they're like, oh, this person is pretty inconsistent, this person is not serious with their brand, so let me move forward to another person. And there are always other people that are doing the same thing that you are doing, so you want to always remember that and be consistent. Also, engagement. Interact with your audience by responding. I always say this: don't be that brand that never responds to comments, that never responds to messages, that never responds to tags and all of that. You want to make sure that you are building a relationship with your audience. In as much as you are putting out content, you want to make sure that you are engaging with them as well. Lastly, analytics. I say this all the time: you want to make sure that you monitor your analytics very well, so that you know that, oh, this content I'm putting out there, you want to know how that content actually performed. So you're not just pushing out content and then you're not checking your analytics. You want to make sure that you are doing that, so that your analytics will actually provide a way in which your audience are communicating with you. They're telling you that, oh, I like this content that you're putting out there, or I don't like this content. So you want to make sure that you always check your analytics. This will help you to also adjust your strategy accordingly. Consider when creating content for your personal brand. Now we are moving forward to what are the strategies for maximizing engagement and reach for your personal brand. So what are the things that you should do if you want to get engagement and also reach for your personal brand on your social media platforms? First things first, consistent posting. I say it all the time: regularly share content to keep your audience engaged and interested. So you want to make sure that you are consistent. See, consistency is key with anything that you are doing in this life. You have to be consistent, and I can say it to you, with over 2 years that I've been building my personal brand, consistency actually brought me to actually where I am now. So you have to be consistent, very, very consistent at that. Even when people are not engaging, you are constantly putting out content. Secondly, you want to use hashtags. Hashtags help your content reach a wider audience interested in similar topics. And I really advise this hashtag for TikTok, not necessarily for Instagram, because it doesn't really work for me for Instagram, but people have their different preferences. But yeah, also interact with your audience. You want to make sure that you are not only trying to increase the number of followers on your social media, but you are trying to build a community. In as much as you are also trying to engage with your audience, you're trying to respond to their comments, you're trying to build a connection, right? So you must also be able to interact with your audience. It helps you to have more reach and also more engagement. Also, you want to share user generated content. So you want to encourage your audience to create and share content related to your brand, right? Also, you want to collaborate with others. Instagram has this thing. I think you can also do it on Facebook as well, where you collaborate with other people to actually reach more audience and more engagement. So for example, you have a personal brand, or you also have a personal page as well. That's for only you. You can always, once in a while, try to collaborate to also get more reach and more engagement. That is if your personal page has a lot of following and a lot of engagement and all of that, right? Also, you want to run contests and giveaways. People love also free. People love give me on Instagram. So if you are a brand and you want people to know about your brand more, you can decide to do a giveaway. You might try to do that just for people to know about your brand, to be aware about your brand and all of that. That will also help you to build a lot of engagement and reach. Also, you want to share valuable content. You want to make sure that your content is useful to your audience, not to yourself, because you are not this person consuming the content. It's your audience. So you want to make sure that you share valuable content that resonates with your audience. Also, you want to utilize your stories and your live videos. I cannot overemphasize this. Your story is very important. For example, your Instagram story. TikTok also has TikTok story as well. So you want to make sure that you usually you post on your story, so that you are engaging with your audience. Your audience love when they see stuff about your brand on your story. Everyone likes to watch stories, so you want to make sure you are doing that. Also, post at peak times, which is you want to make sure that you post on times where your audience are active. And you can find this on Instagram. On Instagram, when you check on that 3-bar icon and then you go to your total followers, you see times when your audience are most active. You can see 12 p.m, you can see 1 p.m, like that. So you want to make sure you do that. And also, if you want to actually know the times where your audience are active, you can try to experiment. So you can post by 12 p.m. today, tomorrow you post by 1 p.m. You just experiment with times and see which one works for you best. Also, you want to promote your content, right? You want to use other social media channels to promote your content. You want to make sure that you use emails, so it doesn't have to be about Instagram or about your social media platform. You also want to make sure you do paid advertising to also have more brand awareness and reach more people. Instagram has Instagram ads, Facebook has Facebook ads, TikTok ads, and all of that. So you want to make sure you also promote your content with your money. So that's that about that. Thank you so much for listening to Model 3. I really enjoyed this class, and I hope you did as well. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in module 4. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome to the last module of our course, things to avoid when building a personal brand as a social media manager. Now today is just all about the closing remarks and all of that, all that good stuff. So today we are going to be looking at, after building your personal brand, what next? This is a very valid question, right? What next? So you might ask, okay, Runo, aka the digital babe, you are taking us around this course, module 1, module 2, module 3. Now we are module 4. After we started building our personal brand, what then are we going to do next, right? So now this is just what we are going to be looking at today. So the table of contents, we have introduction, we have how to maintain consistency with your personal brand, how to track and analyze your personal branding efforts, how to scale your personal brand and expand your reach, and then we have the final remarks, and we'll call it a close. Okay, so before we call it a close, right, a little bit of introduction. It's been quite a journey from module 1 to module 3. Now we are diving into the final module of the personal branding course. But remember, this is just the beginning of your personal branding journey. In this module, we'll explore, after building your personal brand, what's next, right? So I will guide you through the next steps to take to continue building and sustaining your personal brand in social media management. So before I dive in, right, it is one thing to have a brand, and it's one thing to continually push that personal brand. So you can say, okay, after this course I want to build my personal brand, but you have to maintain it, right? That's where the consistency comes in. So that's what we are going to be looking at throughout this module 4. Now, how to maintain consistency with your personal brand. This is very important to me because I've been there before, been there, done that, and still doing that, right? When I started building my personal brand in social media management, aka digital marketing, because I'm also into email marketing as well, so we can just call it umbrella term, digital marketing. I started from scratch, so I started with 0 followers literally, but I kept being consistent. I started posting, I continued posting and posting and posting, even when nobody was even paying attention to my content. So it's one thing to start building a personal brand in social media management, and it's another thing to maintain it consistently. So you can say that, oh, after this course I want to immediately start to build my personal brand, I want to do this, I want to do that. But it's not all about the spur of the moment. You have to even be there, you have to consistently be there even when things are not happening, right? And even when you're not getting immediate recognition, you have to consistently keep putting in the work. To succeed in building a personal brand, you must stay consistent and keep going every day, whether or not you receive engagement. Eventually your efforts will pay off and you will see the results of your consistency. And I can say that because I've been there before, right? I have constantly seen the result of my consistency. I used to say to myself, if I did not constantly continue doing this thing, what would have happened? I would have probably fallen down off the way, or I would have stopped doing what I was doing. So it's very important to be consistent, right? Consistency is key. Now, steps on maintaining consistency with your personal brand. So someone might say, okay, Runo, how did you stay consistent even when you were not getting engagement, even when you were not getting recognition? How did you keep on keeping on? First step, set clear goals for your brand. I cannot overemphasize this. Once you have your goals, it will help you to be clear on what it is you want to achieve with your personal brand. And believe it or not, right, the goals that you set, I know everyone's always saying goals, 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 and in your head you feel like, oh, it's just cliche because everybody's always saying goals, goals, goals. But it is not cliche, I promise you, because the goals that you have for your personal brand is what will constantly keep you going. It is what will keep you going even on the bad days, even on days when you're like, oh my god, with the time I spent creating this content, no one even liked it, no one even commented. Your goals will actually keep you going because there is a greater thing that you want to achieve, right? So it's very important. If you it is so your goals will help you to be clear on what it is you want to achieve with your personal brand, and these goals will guide every action that you take and also help you to be very consistent. Secondly, plan ahead. In anything that you do, make sure that you plan ahead. I say it times without number, it is very important to plan. Planning to fail, they say, is failing to plan, right? This will help you avoid giving excuses and slacking. Now, one thing that I have learned, and I can teach anyone that is starting their personal brand today, is you have to plan. I'm someone that I'm obsessed with planning. In as much as when I want to post my content next week, I already have the content that I want to post next week or even upper week. So you must always put in those measures, those systems that will help you to stay consistent. If you plan ahead, you will not have any excuse to say, oh, I don't have what to post today, because you have already planned that particular week or that particular month. So whether you have to create video content, write content ideas, make sure that you plan ahead and you always stay ready. You have to live ready. If you want to start this personal brand of a thing, especially in social media management, you have to be born ready. You have to plan. I cannot overemphasize this. Planning has to be your life, literally. You have to be obsessed with it, just as I am. Okay, and also you have to create a content calendar. It also goes, and this also relates with the planning that I said as well. You have to have a content calendar if you want to be building a personal brand, and I'm sure that's not the only thing that you are doing. You also have gigs at the side, you also have jobs at the side, so you have a lot of things doing. So you want to make sure that you have a content calendar that will help to keep you consistent with your personal brand. A content calendar will help you be consistent with your personal brand, so make sure to develop a schedule for your content to ensure regular posting and maintain audience engagement. You want to make sure that your audience are engaged. Don't, not the one that you post on Monday, the next time we'll see you is next month. No, please don't do that. We don't do that here. Lastly, engage regularly. Interact with your audience consistently by responding to their comments, messages mentioned. This will help you to build a community. Now, you're not building your personal brand for yourself only, right? You are trying to engage with people. You are trying to build a community, so you want to make sure that you engage with them regularly as well. Also, you want to use your brand guidelines. Develop brand guidelines that help define your brand voice. So you want to have some particular things that you live by, right? That your brand lives by. You want to have your brand voice, your tone, your visual style, your color, all of that good stuff. Lastly, monitor and analyze. Regularly monitor your brand. I cannot overemphasize this point. I always love to monitor my posts, my content, everything that I put out there, because to help me to know if my audience are engaging or not, and to also help you to know if your audience actually loves what you are putting out. So that's just that about that on maintaining consistency for your personal brand. How to track and analyze your personal branding efforts. Now, how do you know that your personal branding efforts are actually paying off? First things first, use your social media analytics. Social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn has made it very easy to monitor how every content that you put out on social media is performing through your likes, your comments, impressions, reach, saves, and shares. You are able to properly track your analytics and change your strategy when needed. So with all of this, right, you can easily just go and check your analytics on Instagram and see how many people saved your content, how many people shared, how many people like. This will help you to know how your audience are actually engaging with your content, and it will help you track your efforts, if they are paying off or not. And if they are not paying off, of course, you have to change your strategy. Secondly, pay attention to your direct messages. I love my DMs so much because I get questions. Sometimes I turn those questions into content ideas. I get to help people solve their challenges. So pay attention to your DMs. Every content you put out on social media is meant to be consumed by your audience, and their opinion matters a whole lot. So make sure you always monitor your DMs. Even though sometimes you are not able to reply to all your DMs, that's fine. But at least make sure that you at least look through your DMs and see what people are saying about your content, or questions that they're actually asking you, which you can possibly turn into content. Also, you want to review feedback. It's also similar to this point. Pay attention to your comments, messages, and feedback from your audience. This can provide valuable insight into what is resonating with your audience and what can be improved on. Also, if you have a website, of course, track your website traffic. If you have a website, use tools like Google Analytics to track your traffic from your social media profile. This can help you understand how effective your social media efforts are driving traffic to your website. Lastly, set goals and KPIs. Define specific goals and key performance indicators for your personal brand. This will help you measure the success of your efforts and make informed decisions based on data. Now, I have a very detailed video on how to write social media goals, how to track them. So you want to make sure that you check that on my YouTube channel after this. So that's that about how to track and analyze your personal branding effort. Now, you want to go the extra mile. You want to reach more people with your personal brand. How do you scale your personal brand and expand your reach? Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to leverage your social media platforms. I know, yes, you already have social media, you are doing your best, but you want to leverage on social media to the fullest, right? The best way you expand your personal brand reach is through your social media platforms. You want to start by intentionally building a community. So you are not just posting on social media because you want a huge number of following, or you want so many likes. You want to intentionally build a community, and that starts with a lot of patience. You want to make sure that you engage your community, you carry your community members along, right? You want to make sure that you maximize social media tools like stories, live videos, polls, Q&As, all of that, all of those good stuff. You want to make sure that you use it to the fullest, right? You want to maximize your social media to the fullest. I know that you are doing that, but you want to make sure that you do that a lot. You want to make sure that you do it to the brim, right? Secondly, you want to collaborate with individual. No man, they say, is an island. You are not an island, so not everything that you want to do with yourself, me, myself, and I. know sometimes you want to go the extra mile and collaborate with people in the same field. They don't even have to be in the same field with you, but two heads are better than one, they say. Partnering with individuals in your industry can help you reach a wider audience, but I wouldn't advise you to start with collaborations when you are newly just starting out your personal brand, because you want to make sure that you actually build by yourself. Then when you have reached a certain level, you can start collaborating with individuals and all of that. Also, you want to create shareable content. Now, I love this point so much. You want to create a content that people would learn from it, and they will also go ahead to go and share with their friends and family. So you're not just creating content that, oh, people will just watch and just pass, they will not even engage. You want to create content, have it in mind anytime you are thinking about your content ideas. You want to create shareable content that people will share. Develop content that is not valuable to your audience, but also that is not only valuable to your audience, but also easily shareable. This can help your content reach a broader audience. Now, just think about it. You know, when your friend sends you a particular video on Instagram and you just laugh and giggle about it, and then you even go ahead and send it to another person, you want to make sure that your content is something that can be shareable, right? That's very important. Also, run social media advertisements. Social media advertisements can help you reach a targeted audience, and most especially people that are interested in your personal brand. But make sure to start organic for a while before you now introduce social media advertisements. I always advise people to start organic first before they start paying for ads and all those other things. If you want to reach a wider reach, then of course you have to do social media ads as well. Also, you want to network offline. Attend industry events. No man is an island. Don't sit down and say, oh, if I want to blow, I must blow through the internet. You must not blow through the internet. You can meet people, you can collaborate with people, you can network with people, right? So you want to attend industry events. So for example, you're a social media manager, you're a digital marketer, you want to attend marketing events, offline events, right? You want to network with professionals in your field, you want to build relationships, and that will lead to new opportunities and increase your brand visibility as well. Lastly, or not lastly, almost lastly, you want to utilize email marketing. Build an email list. Now you want to build a community outside of Instagram. Don't forget that Instagram is a rented space. You rented for that space. It's not your house, it's not your father's land, right? It's not your app. You are not the one that builds the app. So you want to make sure that you utilize email marketing. Build an email list of interested followers and regularly send out newsletters or updates. This is something that I personally do and has helped me to also expand my reach and expand my audience as well. This can help keep your brand top of mind and drive traffic to your social media profiles. Also, word of mouth. I say it everywhere. Word of mouth is so powerful. Word of mouth is very, very important. Make sure to spread the good word out there about your brand. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your enemy, tell your friends to tell a friend. You can also go ahead to the extra mile to always ask your friends and family to share your content. When I started, I used to do that a lot. I would say, oh, please help me share my content, help me share it on your story so that you can reach more people at the end of the day. Some people might call it begging, but I don't think it's begging. You're just trying to make your content reach wider people, right? Lastly, you want to create valuable resources. I always say it everywhere. Always look at what you are creating. Ask yourself, does this thing look good before you click on publish? Or develop ebooks, guides, or white papers that provide value to your audience. So you don't want to always just create content. As a social media manager, I'm sure there are lots of things that you have in your head that you want to pour out, a lot of information. So you can turn them into ebooks, into digital courses, all of that, and that will help you grow your audience as well.